Michael Jackson, died with over $400 million in debt. A man who earned so much money and yet he died in debt. How is this possible? Was it the glamorous lifestyle, drugs, or maybe all the lawsuits he had to pay for? We will never know.
What we know is that the average American is $5,700 in debt, while 78% of people in the US live paycheck to paycheck. What kinds of debt exist and can you actually profit from it? Why debt secretly kills your dreams and what you can do to get rid of it? Hang on and find out.
Hey guys, welcome to our new video today. We are going to talk about debt. So what is the definition of debt? Debt is when you owe money to somebody, and it's the goal to pay it off as quickly as possible.
And don't forget, the borrower is a slave to the lender. And this statement couldn't be more true, because a debt makes you live in the past. Just imagine a life debt-free, no student loan, no credit card debt. Just imagine that. Ready to take on your financial goals and your future.
Now, let's go to the different kinds of debt that actually exist. The first one would be credit card debt. Credit card debt is the most common debt in the USA. Generally speaking, 15 to 20% is the interest rate on debt with credit cards. And always remember, if you can't make a payment, then you will lose credit card points. The second most well-known debt, or most broadly spread debt, is the student loan debt. It is a lot of money that you have to invest to go to university, and everybody knows that. And the problem is with that thing, it has an interest rate between 3 to 7%.
The third one would be mortgage. Mortgage is, for example, if you buy a house or when you buy a house. In real estate, this is very common. And the interest rate is about 3% per mortgage. But over 30 years, this can add up to a big sum. Don't forget that, guys. And the fourth one would be an auto loan. For example, if you want to buy that new flashy car, but you don't have the cash right now, you can finance it. And for a new car, you pay 5% debt. And for a used car, you pay then 10% in interest.
Now, you can also further divide that into two more subcategories. And the first one of these would be the secured debt. Secured debt is when you have an item as a security for the money you lended out. For example, a house, jewelry, or a car.
The second one would be unsecured debt. And this one is not directed to an item. And if you miss a payment, you can't lose this item. This could be credit card debt, student loan debt, or medical bills. And because it's not tied to an item directly, it generally has a higher interest rate. So now let's get to the interesting part. How to get out of debt. Well, the most important thing is live below your means. I know it sounds hard, but it is very important that you live below your means and stop spending money on shit you don't need. That's the hardest thing, but it's so important if you really want to get rid of debt. So first of all, set up a budget. Track your expenses and understand yourself as a consumer. How much do you make every month? What's your income? And how much do you spend every month? And what are your monthly payments to the different kinds of debt or your mortgage?
So, like Chris said, tightening the belt is something very important if you want to pay off your debt rather quickly.
Exactly.
And one of the best and easiest ways to really get a look on your finances and understand them better is the so-called 50-30-20 rule, on which we will make a separate video soon. Another system that can really help you pay off your debt as quickly as possible is the Snowball debt system. And it basically works that way. You have multiple different debts and you write them down on a list and order them from smallest to largest. Then you prioritize the smallest debt and pay the minimum interest in it.
Yes, as Steven said, you pay your minimum interest on all your different kinds of debt, but you focus on the smallest debt. you try to pay this one off as quickly as possible. Just pour as much money in as possible. And then when your first debt is paid off, use that minimum interest and add it to the second one. Then tackle your second one and pump as much money in it as possible. So you repeat that with everything, and the minimum payment of each month of the debt before always goes to the next one. So your last debt gets paid off quicker than the first one, for example. And this is why it's the snowball effect, because it always piles up and gets faster every time you pay off a debt.
Number 3 is sticking to a plan. You can either let your money control you or control your money. You can do that by sticking to your plan, which you have to work out first, of course, and then increasing your earning power.
So how do you increase your earning power, you ask? Well, it's very simple. Work more hours, take on a second job, or sell stuff you don't need anymore. The fourth one could be creative. Just look for ways to increase your income. So the more money you make, the faster your debt disappears. Just imagine that. The more money you make, the faster your debt disappears. It's quite simple, but it's very true. And also, debt is not always a negative thing. If you're willing to utilize it correctly, it can also make you money. But how can you utilize debt correctly? Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of income generating debt. But how can debt be good, Steven?
So the best way to use debt to make money is in real estate. So for example, if you want to build if you want to buy a house, you buy that house for $100,000 with the support of your bank. Then you have to pay, let's say, $600 a month for a mortgage to your bank. But you rent out the apartment or the house for $1,000 a month. That leaves you with around about $400 of cash flow for each month.
So this is also how Robert Kiyosaki made his fortune. So you automatically pay off your loan. So after, let's say, 30 years, the house belongs to you and it probably has increased in value, and you also make a profit every month. And this is basically the cash flow of Robert Kiyosaki's empire. And also down in the description below, there's a rental calculator where you could calculate all those facts if you want to.
Thank you for watching the video. So, what are your ways of dealing with debt? What would your first action be if you were a debt-free person? Tell us in the comments below.
Also, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss out on future financial education or personal growth videos. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you soon, guys.